Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you on this important occasion, giving voice to responsible tourism practices in India and celebrating the achievements of the amazing work being undertaken at a grassroots level. I'm Fiona Jeffery, the founder and chairman of the international water and community-led development organisation, Just a Drop. I've been asked to talk to you today about the evolving solutions for water security and resilience in local communities. So based on my 30 years work experience in the international tourism arena and the international NGO sector, I'd like to share with you some strategic insights and practical solutions as to how Just a Drop delivers the greatest and most effective impact we can for the communities we support, and at the same time, deliver value to all our stakeholders, including our funding partners. So to do this effectively, today's discussion will cover the international nature and principles under which Just a Drop operates. I'll look at the current environmental and climatic challenges and the impacts we all face. Share an operational model I'd recommend and have named the Transformational Triangle. And I'll also outline some of the solutions for water security and resilience in local communities in India. And then close with an example Just a Drop case study from India to illustrate the practical steps and holistic approach we take. So let's get started. Just a Drop is an international community-led development organisation whose primary focus is to provide communities with access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene education. We work in the 6 destinations shown here across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. And in India, we work in Madhya, Pradesh with our local partner, Haritika, and have also been working in Tamil Nadu and in Bihar. Our global footprint is important, however, because it means we can share learnings, ensuring that best practice is developed, shared, and implemented across the world. We work and support local partners, ensuring that they not only have access to funds, but importantly, access to technical and international development expertise. We also focus on maintaining and monitoring standards of workmanship. We capacity build local teams with training and development. We create long-term holistic solutions, and we ensure the long-term sustainability of our programs so everyone benefits. Sustainability, in a word, sits in our DNA. We don't do anything unless we believe we can make it sustainable in the long term. Why? Because we don't believe in letting people down. Too often we've come across interventions by well-meaning organisations that work for a period of time and then break down never to be repaired or monitored. Nor do we believe in wasting valuable donors' generously given funds. That's highly irresponsible, and we're talking about responsible tourism, right? We believe in the long-term investment and sustainable impact. This means everything that we do puts the community's requirements centre stage. We take account of the environmental conditions and cultural nuances to deliver the most appropriate solutions, ones that our supporting partners can invest in with confidence and trust. We also look to build from the basic need of water and sanitation to create holistic solutions which empower communities to enable them to make better futures for themselves. We're a community development organisation, not an aid organisation. Water is simply the start of what we do. Our president, the international explorer, Colonel John Blashford Snell, once said, "Life without water is an endless struggle. With it, almost anything is possible." Access to water is the springboard to so much more: improved health, safer communities, better education, gender equality, food security, sources of employment and income, and poverty reduction. In fact, Just a Drop supports 12 out of the 17 of UN Sustainable Development Goals, including climate action. So let's take a look at the environmental and climatic conditions being faced both within India and across the world. In the water space, we're currently facing a downward spiraling effect. A combination of population growth and current economic and agricultural practices are rapidly creating demand for water. These developments also contribute to further environmental degradation and climate change, and this then places additional pressure on water sources, threatening their renewable supply. The consequence? Water becomes increasingly scarce. The scientific evidence is clear. The climate is changing and will continue to change. Climate change will affect the availability, quality, and quantity of water for basic human needs. So under threat is the basic human right of access to water and sanitation for potentially billions of people. The COVID-19 pandemic, with the mass migration of city dwellers to rural environments, has also put additional pressure on local water resources and crop production. The alteration of the water cycle impacts and puts at risk energy production, food security, human health, economic development, and poverty reduction. However, it is possible to adapt and mitigate risks to improve water management in order to build better water security and resilience in local communities. So let's take a look at how to tackle this, both at the macro level as well as the community level. In light of my experience over the last 30 years of working in the private sector and through tourism working with governments, both local, national and regional, as well as over the last 20 years running an international NGO, I've developed an approach which I believe to be simple, realistic, and an effective modus operandi across the board globally. It relies on people focusing on their areas of expertise, but in a way that's joined up, and I call it the Transformational Triangle. The protagonists are government, the private sector and business community, and international and national NGOs, commonly referred to as the third sector. All three are required to work together to contribute towards improvements in civil society and for it and the communities to remain at the heart of this process. Thanks to the creation of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals previously mentioned, with the ideal framework and umbrella to develop social and environmental progress and bring positive change to our world through poverty reduction, social inclusion, environmental protection, and conservation. Excuse me. However, to deliver these goals, we need, in my view, this transformational triangle working in a collaborative, respectful, and joined-up manner. The beauty of this is that the roles of each are clearly defined. Governments create viable policy frameworks for business and the third sector to operate efficiently and effectively. Businesses provide the engine and the investment to actively participate in the change we want to see, be able to do the right thing, which in turn is good for business. And the not-for-profit third sector underpins effective delivery on the ground, because to be effective on the ground, you need the right organisations creating the right engagement to achieve sustainable and impactful outcomes. This is the transformational triangle. The bottom line is that it needs all of us being aware of the massive contribution we can make and deliver that well according to our own areas of expertise. It's about having a collective vision and demonstrating collaborative leadership and partnership, ensuring civil society and communities genuinely benefit. Let's now reflect on solutions for water security and resilience in local communities. Just a Drop undertakes a number of approaches which take account of a range of factors. The nature of the rainfall in an area, whether there is one rain or two long, short rains. The hydrology. For example, the type of soil will determine the depth of a borehole and the likelihood of success in yielding water. The local political context. Assessing, for example, potentially conflicting water demands from local stakeholders, ensuring there's equitable access to water. You don't want, for instance, a business or government over extracting water or polluting it to the detriment of local communities. We also take account of the capacities of local organisations. Throughout the programme, communities are at the heart of discussions and interventions. They actively participate at all stages. Their feedback gathered to encourage ownership and sustainability, and we work collaboratively with active participation from all our stakeholders. A favourite solution in India are check dams, which not only store vast quantities of water, but also increase the groundwater levels, enhancing the aquifer. These are barriers built using stone, cement and concrete across the direction of water flow on a shallow river or stream, and are used to harvest rainwater. They hold the water during the rainy season in small catchment areas behind the dam, and the stored water is mainly used for irrigation. Check dams help control water velocity, they conserve soil, and they improve the land, decreasing the amount of water runoff lost from the watershed that would otherwise evaporate in the hot climate. They're located near villages and help replenish the water table to stop boreholes running dry in the dry season and help farmers grow crops and improve livelihoods. The beauty of check dams is that they're capable of safely storing tens of thousands of gallons of water through the dry season, help with soil conservation, and support crop production, ensuring communities can feed their families and use excess crops to trade and generate an income. Check dams also help to strengthen water distribution systems in villages. With the help of solar power, water is pumped from a borehole up to a water storage tower. From there, water is then piped across the village so that households can receive their water from taps in their own homes and backyards. This helps overcome many of the safety issues women and children face when spending many hours trekking to collect water, as well as reducing the time they spend on this task, allowing the women to do more productive income-earning activities and allowing girls the opportunity and time to go to school. Another technique is tanks desilting. By digging out existing tanks dug, this helps expand the water storage capacity, and the community are able to put the removed silk on their fields, which in turn increases the soil fertility. With many of Just a Drop's projects, we also focus with our local partners on agriculture and crop management, where communities are encouraged to grow drought-resistant crops, and in India are specifically trained in zero-budget natural farming techniques. This involves moving away from traditional crop-based systems and instead use low water-intensive irrigation and organic farming techniques by not using fertilizers and pesticides. They're encouraged to create a nutritional garden where they'll plant mango, guava, okra, cereals, tomatoes, chilies, garlic, and so much more. As a brief aside, our sanitation program has been very successful with communities in India. We've contributed significantly to reducing open defecation by building model toilets that include a private bathing area. The women have loved this as it gives them total privacy, and as a result has led to substantive behavioural change by both the women and the children who are encouraged to use the same facilities. Our Hygiene Education programme also extends into menstrual hygiene education and management, helping to get rid of ancient taboos and encouraging girls to stay in school when they have their periods, enhancing their future prospects. So I hope this is giving you an insight into some of the practical applications Just a Drop implements that contribute to water conservation and increasing the resilience of remote rural communities across India. To end, I thought I'd give you an example of a Just a Drop project in action. Panari is a village in Hatta block of Damoh, the district in Madhya, Pradesh. The village has a population of 507 with 108 households and a growth anticipated to over 700. The infant mortality rate, according to state records, is 57 out of 1,000, which is much higher than the all India average. More than 50% of children under 3 are underweight and stunted, a result of chronic malnutrition. Deaths of children under 5 are attributed to diarrhea, acute respiratory infections, and malnutrition. Women and children suffer the most due to inadequate water supplies and sanitation facilities. They're responsible for the water carrying, which takes 3 to 5 hours a day, and they have to wait a long time in water collection queues, and this often means that the girls cannot attend school. Furthermore, they suffer significant and long-term health problems, including head and back injuries, reproductive tract infections, prolapses of the uterus, which give problems during childbirth, and they're also at risk from sexual violence. Therefore, the provision of adequate water, sanitation, and the promotion of key hygiene behaviours have a huge impact in terms of the health and social economic conditions of the community. The project starts with the creation of the Village Water and Sanitation Committee, who are consulted every step of the way. For example, in deciding where any borehole or community installations might be constructed. A full geological and hydrological investigation is undertaken, and detailed designs are then drawn up. In this particular village, the following was agreed with the local community, our local partner, the Just a Drop projects team and supervising engineer, and our funding partner, in order to ensure that everyone is on board and to create as a holistic a solution as possible that benefits the community. So this included the building of a 300-foot deep well and submersible pump, as well as a 40,000-litre water tank and pump house, which helped us pipe water directly into 108 households. We also built twin pit latrines and bathrooms for 2 model families and upgraded 38 latrines. We repair and restore where we can, so 3 existing hand pumps were also repaired. We also trained the community in good hygiene practices, including menstrual health and hygiene education. The local school has also been upgraded with a sanitation block and newly installed hand washing facilities for the children in order to, so that as well as protecting them from other diseases, we're also protecting them from the risks of the pandemic and COVID-19. Finally, in order to offset the carbon footprint to create this infrastructure, we've planted 5,000 trees, which not only provide value for vegetation and fruit sources, but over a 10-year period capture enough CO2 to make the project carbon neutral and ultimately will become carbon negative. So I hope this gives you a practical insight into Just a Drop's approach. We take our responsibilities very seriously. We recognise wherever we work in the world, we are supporting some of the most vulnerable communities, and therefore successful, sustainable solutions are the only acceptable outcome. At the same time, we want to preserve and enhance environmental conditions and habitats and minimise our own footprint, ensuring we leave a place better than when we arrived and better able to thrive successfully long after we've gone. This is what sustainable, quality community development and empowerment is all about, leading to improved livelihoods, happier and safer communities, and a preserved environment. creating better places for people to live in and better places for people to visit. Thank you for listening, and if anyone would like further information regarding Just a Drop, please visit our website or email us directly. Many thanks for having me here today to speak to you and share some thoughts and insights, and I wish you all a very successful conference.